Listen, I need to explain something very deep and quite shocking. This super dark gloss episode of High School DxD really haunted my dreams. I'll explain. If you haven't seen or at least heard about this anime, High School DxD is a Japanese light novel series written by Ichai, whatever his name is, Ishibumi, and illustrated by Miyama Zero. The story centers on Issei Hyodo, a perverted high school student from Kuo Academy who desires to be a harem king and is killed by his first date. Revealed to be a fallen angel, but is later revived as a devil by Ria's grandmother to serve her and her devil family. Issei's deep relationship with Ria's proves dangerous to the angels, the fallen angels, and the devils. I hate this series for one reason. There is so much strong nudity. Either one of my friends said that the other countries decide what X-rated content is available in other countries, and that anime got a 15 rating. However, there is a lost episode of High School DxD that is way too stirring, etc. One day I was playing some Lego Batman Free Beyond Gotham on my Xbox 360 until I got bored, so I went on my computer to check my email. While scrolling, I saw that one of my friends sent an email about a missing High School DxD episode. I saw that this post had a link to the last episode they were talking about. It was a WebM file. I downloaded it and played the episode. For some reason, there wasn't a cold opening like I saw in most of the season 2 episodes. It just went to show a low budget intro after someone on YouTube produced it. It started off with a shot of Issei's house at night. It stayed on screen for about 50 seconds before it cut to static. I didn't know where this was going. Then I cut to another shot of the house, but we were inside and the split living room until it cut yet again to static, but it stayed on for about 2 minutes. It then showed Asia walking left and right of a dark room for about 35 seconds until she walked up to the screen, scaring the complete crap out of me like she was going to come out of my computer. But no, she stared at me with quite a confused expression. It stayed like for about a minute, or for a minute, until it went static for another minute. Then it came back on the room being nothing but black, but Asia was still the same. It is the same thing, but once that disappeared, Asia now had blood red eyes, and there was dark sounds playing in the background. And again, more static. But this stayed on for about 3 minutes this time. Then I cut to black of reverse music. Then it showed a disturbing image of Koneko. She had slit her wrists and hanged herself from the ceiling. The door to the room opened, and I could hear the character Xenovia scream bloody murder. Asia, what the fuck did you do to her? Sorry, that's just part of the story. Zenobia screamed before turning to static. This stayed on for a minute until it went to static for 5 seconds. It cut back to Asia, but now she was much scarier than I thought. The room she was standing in was now drenched in blood, and Asia now had a really dark smile. Then it cut to, well, you know the rest. Asia was much, much darker than I could ever think. She was now in a room with a red silhouette behind her. She had an eye missing, and her other eye had lots of blood on it. Then her footsteps were getting fast. And then showed Ria's grandmother jumpscaring me with bloodshot eyes. It returned to each of the characters in the room strangely enough despite appearing to still be dead. Koneko still stood amongst the others, and that cut to 5 minutes the girls committed suicide in various ways. The only one who didn't was Asia, who just stood there watching her friends killing themselves. But interestingly, the whole scene played out almost identically to the music video The Devil and I by Slipknot, in which the girls appear to kill themselves in identical ways. Akeno, or whatever her name is, appeared and rolled up her sleeve, and she sunk her teeth into her arm and then began to eat it as blood rolled down her mouth. She appeared to fall over, perhaps dying of the blood loss, and then showed Irina sinking her hands into the right side of her face and turning it off while her left side watched on it. It didn't show her dying on screen. Gasper sat as birds killed him. Koneko was back to her hanging position but was now partly on fire. Rias opened up the tower shutters and stepped out. There was a thud and showed Rias down the ground. After this horrifying scene, I noticed Asia rising into the sky, then jump scared me by doing a break. The fourth wall-like jump scare, similar to the end jump scare from the movie Sinister. Only Asia had red eyes and sharp teeth like an anglerfish. After that, it flashed High School DxD across the screen and ended. After that, I fucking vomited across the screen, emailed my friend about this. I asked him what the hell he was trying to do to me. He briefly apologized and told me that it was all a lost episode. Then I decided to email the studio that produced the show and the manga. I managed to get an email from them 2 hours later, and it was written in the form of a lost episode I heard about once. This is what the email said. Dear Anonymous, thank you for taking the time to write to us. We were quite surprised by your story about the unheard episode of High School DxD that you discovered. We are grateful that you contacted us about concerning it. We can personally assure you that T&K, as well as other anime studios, claim no ownership or liability whatsoever regarding the episode. However, we still feel that an explanation is in order. Unfortunately, we aren't able to provide the details of this episode creation, as we simply don't know how this happened. Back in 2013, we received a DVD in the package with no returns address. The words Mr. Hiyazaki are written on the package along with the DVD. There was a letter from Mr. Hiyazaki saying that he was the biggest fan of the High School DxD series and asked for approval to air his fan-made creation on television. We were quite flattered that a fan would set us a family episode for airing. However, when our editors viewed the episode for refinement, they were quite appalled by its nature. A few of the staff who viewed the episode believed we went into shock and had to be transported to the emergency room immediately. Due to the horrifying content, we had absolutely no plans to air this episode. We passed the tape to a private collector, but we were dismayed to discover that he had many copies made. We ask that you please do not release the contents of the tape or this letter to the public, as we do not want to upset the viewers who love and support our show as older people. With warm regards, Ichie Ishibumi, Executive Vice President, General Counsel, and Secretary. What the fuck was that fucking email fucking thinking? They were literally trying to cover a lost episode had before. After this, I experienced a lot of nightmares for about 2 months. I just couldn't seem to get this lost episode out of my head. If you see this lost episode, don't watch it for the love of God.